Yeah.
Yeah, looks like a bunch from tomorrow.
Yeah,
Great.
rain.
Yeah, we can try to, like, you know how we'll get the other list, like, not get it.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have because like,
I still widen that.
anything's expensive. Regular formula versus organic formula for the year, but only like beautiful. Dutch formula. There's a bunch of different things, right, but we use like that. If you're kidding. We tried to find it, no, it was just like. Pour out. It's like, yeah, absolutely.
They're fast, and it's like that. August, you're like.
Yeah.
But good summer. Mixture of like, I knew there was some really great relaxation.
Yeah, it's like wet. How are you? I'm good.
How was Yeah. Yeah. I'll read the questions there.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
The regular meeting for August 15th, 2023 is now in session. Please rise. The pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You can do it. Okay. For the clerk, Tracy, please call the roll.
Councilmember Anthony.
Here.
Daskaludi. Here. Brick.
Here.
Harris. Here. Moranti.
Here.
Morris. Here. Roney.
Here.
Star.
Yeah.
Walker.
Yes.
Wallace. Present PPHO.
Here.
Forum present.
Can I have an introduction and a second to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the July 18th meeting and place them on file? Arthur and Dewan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports have been posted to the city website. Can I have an introduction and a second to place committee reports on file? Arthur and Amber. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. We have a bunch of communications, most of which you've seen. Can I have an introduction and a second to receive communications and place them on file? Dewan and Arthur. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Michael, can you put the list of bills up, please? Can I have an introduction and a second to pay the bills? Arthur. Go on. Questions?
I want to give you information because I asked Heather, so we don't ask the same question. Moody's Investors, it was for rating service
Correct,
bonds.
correct.
And I think the HAB is,
What?
Yeah, it's for
Battery
the
for
batteries.
Battery.
Batteries, right?
Yeah, the battery. That could be.
Why is JV Computers so high? Still.
Because that was for the whole migration.
We're still dealing with.
We're still paying for it, yeah.
Yeah.
That it? A roll call vote, please. I mean, Tracy.
Okay.
Wow.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Deskaludi.
I,
Frick.
Aye.
Harris. Moranti.
Aye.
Morris. Roney.
Aye.
Sar.
Aye.
Walker. Present Pietro.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, the resolutions we introduced last week.
Excuse me, appointing Commissioner of Deeds. Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Deskaludi. Frick.
Aye.
Harris. Moranti.
Aye.
Morris. Roney.
Aye.
Sar.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Present Pietro.
Aye.
Carried.
The next is a reporting to the state employees retirement system. Any questions further? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Deskaludi. Frick.
Aye.
Harris. Moranti.
Aye.
Morris. Roney.
Aye.
Sar. Walker.
Aye.
Present Pietro.
Aye.
Carried.
The next resolution is slightly revised to make it clear who gave what, but they are donations to the fire department by Craig and Linda Hacker, Stephen and Nancy Leonard, Lucille and Cheryl Friss, Susan Conti, Robert and Patrice Tomaso, Anthony Tomaso, Nicholas and Tamara Friss. Any other questions? A roll call vote, please, Tracy. Oh, wait, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do introduction, sorry. Arthur and Dewan. Now.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Deskaludi. Frick.
Aye.
Harris. Moranti.
Aye.
Morris. Roney.
Aye.
Sar.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Present Pietro.
Aye.
Carried.
Resolution accepting youth center donations from Michael Altobello. Barring any questions, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Deskaludi. Frick.
Aye.
Harris. Moranti.
Aye.
Morris. Roney.
Aye.
Sar.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Present Pietro.
Aye.
Carried.
The next resolution authorizes the execution of a facilities use agreement for youth department activities. Discussion.
we're gonna have the attorney tell us.
Oh, well, you got the memo, didn't you?
I did not get it.
Email.
I did not get it.
Really?
I got it.
I got it.
No.
Chris, do you want to give a quick summary?
Sure. So, and Vicky, I'll double check to make sure I had the right email address and for you. So I did look at this and I know that there was a concern raised about whether this would meet the integration requirements for the ADA, essentially meaning that you want to make sure that the programs that you're offering integrate persons with disabilities as with persons without disabilities, that you're not separating the two groups for your programming. And what I came down to, and I talked to Liz about this as well, is that provided that the K-2 is still going to be have programming that can at least still be offered at the existing youth center, then it's fine to also allow for K-2 at the church facility, even though it's not technically ADA compliant, because we are still at least offering that programming at the current facility. I know Liz doesn't love the idea of being able to do that for several very valid reasons, but I would say that as long as that's being done and at least being offered to the community, then this is not a problem for right now.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Roll call.
No.
Dominic.
So I know we had a discussion about the possibility of why we couldn't use the senior center during this time. What was the issue? Was that considered? Because it's offsite, it's the 3 to 6, the senior center is not available. We already have access to that building. There's programming in the library. Again, I don't think this is a good idea. And if you want to go into executive session, I'm sure we can do that for attorney client, but where we stand now, this is not a wise decision, and I speak as a member of the council, and I also speak as an advocate, that we open ourselves up for some serious lawsuit as soon as we sign this and make this commitment. Liz, I support a satellite, but I think that we need to move ahead and understand that a checklist, top of that checklist should be ADA compliant. So, and if it's not, then it needs to be coming off the recommendation. We're going to be playing Russian roulette with this and just waiting. It's going to be, waiting. And what Crystal said is correct, that that's where it goes to apples and apples, often the same program at the youth center, but then again, it goes back to what is the purpose? Then if we're over the same program at the youth center and an alternative location. So I think we should table this. And I know Liz, that this puts you behind, but again, this is something new, so we could start the program like you always have, and then look for an alternative site that can be moved in the future. But this is not a smart idea to do this. And again, it's not just the children. What about parents and grandparents that might want to attend or might want to participate in their child's or grandchild's to watch or program or pick them up after school? Now that also becomes an issue for them. So again, this is my bailiwick, dealing with people with disabilities. This is not a wise idea to do this.
Done?
Okay, it's not a wise idea. Legally, it's not.
Okay.
Tom, you're dismissing.
No, you're going on with the same thing. You said it's not a wise idea multiple times. I'm not dismissing you. I'm trying to move this along. Continue if you have more you want to say, please.
No. That's it.
Theo.
Enjoy the lawsuit.
Yeah, with total respect to Don, I totally hear where you're coming from, and I think that you are like this passionate advocate for ADA, and I think that you bring a lot of experience with dealing with these issues with COARC, and obviously like this is something that's really close to your heart. Look at like the facts on the ground is that Liz needs to put out registrations for Fall Youth Center. There is a very fortunate opportunity that has fallen to our lap with the church opening up their floors. We have the council, we have this memo from Crystal, who is a legal representative who has offered her interpretation of the law and has said that should a situation arise where we need, to provide services, I have full confidence that Liz will make those accommodations. And for any other parents, those are something that we need to sort of be flexible in the moment for. And I think that, we have a lot of hypothetical what if situations of making, being acquainted, and so long as we're ready to shift towards that, I think the fact of the matter is we have how many children who need the space right now, and this is something where it's not like the ideal world, but it's what we're facing right now on limited resources and limited space. And I think in that spirit, I really hope that we can come together and just help Liz out. She has a really tough job as it is, dealing with a lot of kids with limited resources. And I hope that, as a council, we can come together and just really just give her this opportunity to do her job. So
Thank you, Theo.
But why are we dismissing I haven't heard numbers, and I haven't heard an explanation why we couldn't use the senior center.
So do you want to address that?
Move closer, because I know I'm hard to hear. Thank you, Dominic and Theo, for,
speaking how you feel. The senior center doesn't offer the space that we actually need. You know, there's an open space and classrooms and a kitchen and bathrooms. There's not all of that at the senior center. It doesn't meet the needs that we have for the program. We can't just go downstairs into the library and say we're going to use the library every single day after school, you know, from 3 to 6. That's not how the library works. We might be late occasionally. This situation, this location is, if it were on the first floor, the absolute best location. You know, it's got a big open space. It's got classrooms on the side so we can separate out for programming, homework help. It's got a kitchen. It's got 2 restrooms. It's within walking distance from the youth center. You know, it's right there. I appreciate everything that's being brought up. You know, I did do my due diligence. I checked in with the compliance officer for ADA for the city, checked in with the attorney. I don't know what else I can do at this point to show you that this is a good idea for these students, that we need this space for them. It is not a long-term decision. We don't want to be here forever, but we need to be here this year so we can offer the program that needs to be offered.
Thank you, Margaret.
Yes, so my concern is less about, when Crystal has addressed the potential legal issues. My concern is more around, the potential for, people with disabilities having programming separate from people without.
Mother, we can't hear where.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I had to turn this up to listen to
Okay.
this, and now my voice is too loud. I think I'll turn it back. Okay, is that better?
Yes.
I had to turn it up to listen to this. Yeah, my concern is, Crystal's addressing the legal issue, is more around, separating individuals with disabilities from individuals without disabilities. And what potential impact that has. So I don't know, how many people will be in each location, how many, children or families you're dealing with who have disabilities. Have you looked at that aspect? That's the piece that bothers me actually.
I mean, we
Yes,
currently don't have any students that are registered for our programming that have any accommodations that they need. I don't believe there's a large population of students in the Hudson School District that need accommodations. And we are one of the most flexible programs that I have ever been a part of. You know, when people come to us with needs, we find a way to meet them. We're not of the habit of turning people away or making them feel othered. Like, we are so accommodating at the youth center that sometimes it's hard to do our jobs, honestly.
Right.
So there's, you know, I can definitely appreciate that concern. And that is not the intention. And if it arises, it will be met with, you know, the most compassion and the most accommodations that we can offer to not make that student feel othered at all.
Oh, that's my main concern.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Thanks, guys.
Councilmember Anthony.
I,
Baskaludi.
Yes, I just wanted, can I say something that I am very empathetic towards accessibility, but I do feel that we need to make it done and effectively. And I know other municipalities that they do have buildings like that. And Chatham was the family survival that had rooms upstairs. They were doing that for years, so my kids were. So my.
Brick.
Aye.
Harris. Moranti.
Yeah, of course, I respect I spoke by opinion. I think this is a mistake on the legal side of it. And, you know, my interpretation and from what the memo was totally different. And, you know, I get what Liz is saying about she can't start registration, but, you know, this has been on the table 2 months, even longer. That it's to put it in a perspective of saying, well, we can't start programming if this isn't happening. We're dismissing the ADA and the disability factor. And to just say, well, that you don't know of anybody in the school district, I know at least 4 in the school district. And that now what we're saying is that we are putting a barrier, we're putting an unacceptable, you know, for the city to say, okay, but if you have a problem, we'll do this, but we're not opening our doors unless you need it. That's a wrong message to send. And again, this is gonna come back and bite the city because it only takes one. And that, again, what you would have to do is, you know, is offer the same programming at the youth center. So that's gonna mean, we're back to square one and offering K through 2 at the youth center. And why have this alternative spot? So, obviously, I'm gonna say no with harsh concerns.
Morris.
Aye.
Rooney.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
President Pietro.
Aye.
Carried.
The next resolution revised, so I need an introduction and a second first, Amber and Dawn. And discussion.
Yeah, let me have this.
Hold on a second, Maureen. Hold on a second. As you know, that what we're voting on is a lengthy letter, and I hope you've all read this version because there have been some revisions. Anyway,
So
go
the
ahead,
only
Margaret.
revision from last week, there was a typo in my email address, which I corrected. And then the other revision is that I put in the version that is a Word document, which will go to DOT. There is a live link to the truck study, so that has been inserted. No other changes have been made. So just in general, to recap for everybody, what we did here based upon feedback from council members, members of public and so forth, was we have now put in a request for information on the process for eliminating both of the, one or both of the routes. I itemized on the one that we added for US 9, that it comes through a residential area, that it also then comes down through Park, which is Park Place, which is very narrow. I referenced the video. The video is the one we looked at a month or so ago. That's pertinent to the US 9 access route. So that we're requesting information on that one. The request for information on 9G remains the same. And then there is a direct request for change to restrict the 53-foot trucks for through traffic. The resolution itself, which is for the mayor to approve, I updated to it because the original resolution had only referenced the request for information for 9G. So I added to that, whereas the ad hoc committee has identified that one of the access highways connecting US 9 to Worth to the south and of the city and US 9 to Fairview to the north of the city travels through residential neighborhoods on Worth and Green Street across to the city at Park Place, which is a narrow road at the western end of the city. So I added the US 9 piece into the resolution as well. And that's basically it, but there's no substantive change to the letter other than correcting the typo on my email and adding the link from what you saw last week. Any questions?
Yes, why did you not include the requested change that was submitted by Ted Houston?
I read his change and I have that here. The issues, most of the issues that he's addressing about the width of the streets, residential piece, that is in there. We cannot put every suggestion from everybody into the letter.
Can you say what the suggestion was real quick?
Okay, I received an email. It went, because of the error in the letter, I didn't get it. So Tom forwarded it to me. I assumed you would send it to everybody, Tom. What he has put in is, and the substance of what he's put in is already in the letter. Rather than, except for the issues around some of the FOPS piece and some other things that he has referenced about development. Route 9 Worth Avenue, Park Place truck route into the city of Hudson from the south at the Plum Bronson estate. Here, local organization Historic Hudson has plans to transform the grounds into a 123-acre public access park east and north of the Bronson estate. Worth Avenue passes through a densely populated neighborhood. From Worth, the truck route turns onto Upper Warren, Hudson's main commercial artery, and then follows along the north side of 7th Street, which I referenced as Park Place. Hudson citizens, Friends of Public Square, are working towards improving plantings at the fountain, benches at the heart of the city. At the north side of the park, the truck route moves on Columbia Street and Green, carrying through another densely populated area before exiting the city via Fairview. The roads are all narrow. That I contest because Green and Worth are actually wider than most of the streets in the city. That's not, I think, factual. The turns are tight. The driving lanes on Worth, Warren and Park are about 20 feet wide. Park is 20 feet because we've measured it. That is not true of Green. The area was never meant to accommodate large truck traffic. A video accompanying my letter, and I referenced the video in the letter, illustrates the problem well. Truck traffic along the route hurts the heart of the neighborhood, and it is dangerous to residents, visitors, and shoppers. Columbia Green Hospital is not on the truck route, though the only approach to its main entrance is along this same route. Worth Avenue at the south and Columbia Street at the north. Truck congestion thus leads to an additional hazard to ambulances and patients arriving at foot and by foot and by car. I don't have an issue with, other than saying that it's densely populated compared to other parts of the city, it's not. Green and Worth are not narrow streets compared to other streets. They are definitely wider than 20 feet because I have measured them. So there's much in here that's fine, but I let me finish. I did not, I did respond to Ted. I think he had some good points here, but I don't think the purpose of the letter, which is just to say, we're looking for information on the process for these two routes, describe what the two routes are, and then we also want to stop the 53-foot trucks, get information on the process. Then we get into a discussion with DOT about, okay, here's all of the reasons in detail why we want to remove trucks on Columbia Street, why we want to remove them on Park Place, why, the US 9 connection. That will require, I think, some kind of ring road to get around the problem of those trucks. But yes, that is, I don't disagree with anything other than a couple of inaccuracies in this edition. But the main thing is, the content of what he's suggesting is already in the letter, for the most part, and you cannot keep amending the letter to accommodate every suggestion from everybody who reads it. At a certain point, you have to say, okay, we're done, here it is. We just want to ask DOT for information. So that's why I did not.
I just want to get a correction. Did you say that it's not as densely populated along?
Green and Worth are not as densely
But
populated.
that's only part of it. That's not the whole route. I think it's inaccurate, because if you're talking about Columbia, a good percentage of that is empty parking lots. I mean, I think that needs, I just don't think it's accurate. But anyway, moving along.
Okay.
Further comments?
I have a comment.
I'm gonna turn up my ears, so that means that
Did somebody else want to say something?
if I'm.
The public, but you can
Okay.
go.
I just wanted to say that it's true that this letter has been taking way too long in negotiations. Margaret and the truck committee have done a great job. And again, we have to stop. The first sentence, what they're asking is to close one or two routes. So what DOT most probably will do is investigate if possibly both routes can close. So we don't have to all panic, oh my God, we have an answer. We just, and they may not even get back to us for a long time, or they may say, we're not interested in any of the proposals. So I really feel this hypothesis has been dragging, and we have to move on with this. So,
Like there's no legislative quality to this. It's just merely that we're sending a letter. So, yeah. Correct.
Asking for information.
Asking for information. So, yeah.
Anyone else? Public? Yes.
So I have some questions and comments, and if I have to identify myself, I'm Tiffany Martin. I'm a private citizen and resident of the Fifth Ward. So I know that there are two proposed routes. I don't understand why the separation. And I understand, Margaret, to your point where you're saying that those streets are wider, that may be so, and they may be slightly less densely populated, but anecdotally, as somebody who lived for 15 years and many years before that, in a different era, in the Third Ward, the truck traffic has increased so significantly in the Third Ward that to exclude it, I think would be really egregious. And I'm not pointing that at you specifically, I'm just saying that it would be a gross oversight on the part of the city to exclude that. Quick question, how long are Calaversa's trucks?
I'd like to respond first of all, we're not excluding that route.
Okay,
And the reason they are separate is because DOT in their truck manual has two separate routes. They have an access highway for 9G that comes third. And then on a separate page, they describe the access highway from 9, which is US 9. One is not New York 9G, the other is US 9. So in DOT speak, they are separate. That's why it's a.
Awesome.
I don't know the exact length, but they're probably not more than like 35.
Okay, so my question is, as the mayor who actually brought the first suit against Colarusso. And I know that this is something that no one in this room is going to answer, but how much of this is about excluding Colarusso's trucks from the street versus excluding all truck traffic?
I can answer that. I'm happy to answer that.
Okay,
The truck committee specifically did not address anything relating to Colarusso's truck route. That was off the table.
okay,
It is not permissible to say we will allow this truck company, but we won't allow that one. That's an issue that you cannot do. This is specifically what we have been trying to address specifically is the through traffic. That's not delivering anything in Hudson, that is coming in from Greenport, coming through Hudson, going back out to Green, and delivering nothing to us. Our focus has been entirely on that issue. And then also on a number of mitigation strategies, like potentially putting in speed bumps, which police department is not a fan of, reducing speed limits, trying to work with state police to do enforcement. So a number of other things that we are working towards, we have a checklist of things we're trying to do. But it is not at all about Colorado, and that has always been on the table.
okay.
And that, that honestly, yes, the volume of gravel trucks in the city is a problem.
Well, yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely is a problem, and
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that at all. I just, as these discussions happen, if I can kind of zoom out and take the 30,000 foot view of things, I wonder how much of this discussion is driven by the situation with Colarusso versus the overall traffic in the city of Hudson, because it's been ongoing litigation for 6 or 7 years now. And I wonder if this gets amended to be local trucks, local deliveries only, if their trucks will be included in that, because it is a local.
Okay, first of all, 0% of what the truck committee has been addressing is related to Colarusso. So that's the answer to that.
Okay.
And the question of Colarusso, when they are heading to the dock with truck gravel, yes, they are delivering locally, and that is a question that would have to be addressed. But we don't even touch that because the matter is before the planning board. We have no idea what is going to happen, and we don't go into it, and we don't want to make, I have offered no public opinion on how the planning board should or should not.
Sorry, I know that I'm pushing everybody.
No, that's okay. I'm perfectly happy to answer.
This is a really big topic, and it's so important to so many people. And I guess as a private citizen and I'm not an elected official, I would just like to say that I hope that the decisions are driven by truly empirical data and not anecdotal data, and that they are not based on any one particular person or group's opinion of what trucks should be allowed in which, like, it's either all or nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It can't be the first and second ward get mollycoddled and the third ward gets, I'm not gonna say the word, crapped all over because the trucks are dumped into the third ward because their streets are quote unquote wider. Like, if there is an environmental and negative.
Sorry, I
impact
want to clarify something.
Well,
The
can I
reason I said that. Okay.
If trucks are not going to be allowed into the first and second ward because they adversely affect the citizens based on environmental impacts, then my argument is those same environmental impacts affect the residents of the
Yes.
third ward, and they should be equally treated in the exclusion of the truck route. So, and I understand, thank you for clarifying why they're treated separately, first and second versus third, because they're different routes. I appreciate the clarification, but I definitely would like to see this letter, not because as I read it, it said, number one, this, number two, also maybe this. So to me, when I read that, it's sort of like, this is what we're really focused on. And then maybe if we can add this in, also this. And I really feel like I need to advocate for the third ward because it's a tough gig. You know, I understand why the more densely populated areas of the city are, they're beleaguered, they're dealing with excess truck traffic on incredibly old infrastructure. It is densely populated, but the third ward is dealing with the same things. You know, I lived at H20 for many years. It got to the point where I couldn't have a phone conversation on my porch because of the amount of truck traffic that went by my house every day. So, I asked that they be given equal consideration and, or, you know, that my request for them to be given equal consideration will be, taken into consideration. And just, for the record, just to, and you've already said that it has been, but to clarify that I'm hoping that every single person that votes on this is able to separate the Colarusso issue from the overall impact of the truck route.
For your information, the street with the highest volume of truck traffic in Hudson from the truck study is Green Street in the third ward with 270 per day.
Yeah.
And that's because every single route leads to Green. Whether you're coming up Columbia, whether you're coming from the south and going around the park, every single route leads to Green.
So green would be excluded?
No,
under-
Green, no, Green is part of we're asking for information on two routes.
Mhm.
What is the process for eliminating traffic?
Right, that's what I'm saying. So green is included in those, in.
Green is one of these routes, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify what I said about the width. In what Tom is referencing is an email that was sent, which states that the roads are, turns are tight, and it says, the driving lanes on Worth Warren Park Place are about 20 feet wide. That's true of Park Place. I do not believe it's true of Worth. I've measured Park Place. And so all I'm saying is yes, and I did reference in the letter that the street is 20 feet wide, barely.
Yeah, no, I.
So I mean, you know, much of what's in here is already in the letter. So I would just ask, please, if we could vote on it, vote it down if you want to, whatever, but you know.
My final comment is thank you, because I know
Okay.
how much
Yeah,
hard work
you're
goes into this, and, you know, I know how much you all do. So I do appreciate it, and I'm just asking questions and kind of bubbling up as I've read these iterations.
Okay. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Pascaluty.
Aye.
Frick.
Aye.
Harris. No. Moranti.
Aye.
Morris.
Aye.
Roney.
Aye.
Sar.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
President Pedro.
As much as I appreciate all the work you put into this, Margaret, I have to vote no.
Carried.
But it does pass. Okay, new resolutions. First resolution authorizes money for personnel services for the Historic Preservation Commission for their clerk. Can I have an introduction in a second, please? Ronnie? Second? Go on. Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Pascaluty. Aye. Frick.
Aye.
Harris.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Morris.
Aye.
Roney.
Aye.
Sar.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
President Pedro.
Aye.
Carried.
The next resolution reappoints, excuse me, Michael O'Hara to the Board of Supervisors as the representative of the City of Hudson on their Environmental Management Council. Dewan and Ron.
Why was there like such almost like a year gap in?
I just forgot, I think. Okay. Curious. I was curious about that too. Any other questions? Yours, second? Yeah, okay. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Pascaluty. Aye. Frick.
Aye.
Harris.
Aye.
Moranti.
Aye.
Morris.
Aye.
Roney.
Aye.
Sar.
Aye.
Walker. President Pedro.
Aye.
Carried.
The next is a resolution authorizing the execution of a license agreement with Big Towel Spa, which we heard about last week. Kind of an introduction in a second. Ooh, go on, Amber.
I have a quick question.
Yes,
So, actually, two quick questions. One is how did we come up with the fee of the $50? And the second is how we're gonna, is the city gonna advertise this? Or, can the city advertise this?
Michael, you're gonna.
Sure, the fee is effectively this fee that we give Hudson Paddles.
Okay,
That's what that was based on.
and,
Since it's a similar arrangement where we're having another operator provide services on a municipal spot.
okay,
So
So,
we're not gonna advertise.
but we won't advertise, that'll be the responsibility of the health.
it's nice to put it on ours.
I'm sure, I think we'd be happy to put information.
No, it's just it's so new
I know
age,
that
you
the
know.
Friends of Oakdale, I'm like, we've been talking and I know that they said that they would help.
Yeah, sure,
promote it,
nice to put it.
But they can.
Cool.
Okay.
Anything else?
I got a question.
Oh, Dominic.
Did we find out from the Department of Health that if somebody can go swimming?
There's no swimming, so no swimming will be allowed at all during the operation of it.
Okay, thank you.
No full dips on.
Anything else? A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Pascaluty. Aye. Frick.
Aye.
Harris. Moranti.
Aye.
Morris. Roney.
Aye.
Sar.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Present Pedro.
Aye.
Carried.
The next resolution authorizes a budget transfer related to vital statistics. Heather, are you still here? Yeah, I can't see that up there.
Yes.
Did she? No? Did she want to comment on this?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, this was your resolution, I believe, the vital statistics.
Yes, so
Right?
as it said,
Yeah.
No.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can now.
You can now, yeah?
Yes,
Yeah. Tech. Yes, so as it says in the resolution, this was a regular annual request of the Vital Statistics Department. It's for really basic stuff that they need to operate. For reasons I will blame on the software, but I will actually take the blame myself because I own the software. Somehow it got dropped in the final budget. There's no question that it's needed. It's really basic stuff. They have a basic piece of software that they use. So it's maintenance of that, postage and office supplies. I was able to find enough money in workers' comp to cover it. So this resolution just takes that money and provides them the funds that they need to support that budget.
okay, thank you. An introduction. Go on, Arthur, second, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Pascaluty. Aye. Frick.
Aye.
Harris. Moranti.
Aye.
Morris. Roney.
Aye.
Sar.
Aye.
Walker. Present Pedro.
Aye.
Carried.
And the final resolution involves a final bit of money for the construction project, the improvement of the intersection Fairview and Green. Can I have an introduction, second, Amber and Joanne? Peter?
Yes,
Are you here? Okay, you want to speak to this, please?
yes. During the construction, you come upon different things that require some improvement that will make it more pedestrian friendly and truck safe at that intersection. It's a very busy intersection. And when we got into the construction of the sidewalks, we realized that these additional improvements would make it a much better intersection. So that's what these are for. And it does require a slight edit. If you go to the fourth whereas, item number 3, it should read southwest corner, not northwest corner.
Question.
Yes, Vicky, sorry.
Peter, it's a little bit painful to give more money to Colarusso. Is there any way we can have a different contractor to do this, or it has to be the same one?
No, it's that that won the bid on the contract, they're doing the work and they pretty much need to get the change order.
Maybe in the next project we have a different one.
This was a public bid.
With the bid.
Yeah.
Whoever.
Yeah.
And they so.
Yeah, this is I don't know if you've driven by there lately, but it's a really great project. And it's almost finished.
Yeah, it is.
They were gonna stripe it, but because of rain, it's been making it impossible to get the striping.
Should commence tomorrow morning between 9 and 12, and then it should be all completed. And it is a much better intersection. It may look the same, but the technology is greatly improved. It's on a camera sensor versus a timer. And there's a lot of capabilities inside that control panel that we can work with to make adjustments to that intersection.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anthony.
Aye.
Bascaluti. Aye. Craig.
Aye.
Harris. Aye. Moranti.
Aye.
Morris.
Aye.
Roney.
Aye.
Sauer.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
President Pietro.
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, come on, please. This came in a little bit late, but we're gonna put it on our tables tonight, so there's plenty of more to go, more time to talk about this. But the mayor has joined us to explain his intentions with this proposed local law. Mayor Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I'm looking, like, right now, we all know that there's issues of parking in the city. I've been reached out to a number of constituents from all of your wards who have incredibly high parking tickets that they want me to do. What I'm looking to do is create a grace period, 60 to 90 days where they can pay their original ticket. And just clear that all up so they're not getting booted and told, and this will help out a lot of the citizens and all of our wards. I've worked on this with our attorney, Crystal, you guys' attorney has also seen it, so, you know, I'm hoping that, you guys support it and, it's able to go forward in September. If there's any questions, I'm here.
So first, we just need a motion and a second to put it on our table. Amber and Dewan. Margaret.
Yeah, so Mayor, I'm looking at it for the first time. So the intent is, I have a ticket from 5 years ago and now it's morphed into a couple of $100, but I would still have to pay my $5 thing from 5 years ago.
Yeah, so there's gonna be a date on when the tickets will start and a date for when end. So until when this is approved, that'll be the end date. So any tickets after that
Right.
will still incur that price.
And the date,
It allows people who owe back tickets, to kind of catch up.
the date put in was on or before January 1, 2020.
Correct.
So do we have a big backlog of tickets from that period?
Tracy could say better than I am, but I know I just.
Off the top of my head, I would say there is a big backlog.
So all I'm wondering is, administratively, if you're gonna knock it back to whatever it was, $10 or whatever at the time,
Mhm.
and if you calculate how much money that is, it may not be worth, it may be better to just do a straight up amnesty and forgive those tickets. It depends on how much it is, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Margaret, that's, that's good.
It would be easier to administer.
Heather, can you address this? I don't know if she would.
No.
I mean, I can't address it, but I can comment. And my comment would be, as far, I mean, I understand what Margaret's saying in terms of administration, but I do think that it is important to recognize the fact that these people did get a ticket for a reason. And while we might want to be beneficial and, waive the excess fines that have added, I personally, and it's not even from a finance standpoint, it's more from if you let a bunch of people not pay even their initial ticket fee, then how do you support charging that fee for other people? So I don't have an issue with the amnesty program, but I would personally prefer that the initial tickets still be charged.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Heather. I got a question.
So this is like a one-time thing though, because if this keeps happening, people are gonna say, I'm not gonna pay my ticket because there's gonna be an amnesty. So this is only gonna be something that is gonna be offered once in a certain period.
Yeah, this is a
And
one time.
Right, and is it gonna be like, if you got it this time, or is it per person, or how does that work? Per ticket? So if I got it 5 years ago, and I haven't paid my tickets, but if I get a ticket, in a week, does that still part of the embassy? And, where, is it only a certain time frame that's gonna be?
Yeah,
It's COVID years.
Yeah, it's a certain time frame.
Okay, and again, I think I agree with Heather, it's not to, it basically say, hey, we're gonna turn the clock back to the ticket you got, you pay it for this time, and anything extra is gonna be excused, right?
Yeah, and the conversation I've been having, especially with a lot of our elder population, who, there was one woman who had to pay almost $600 and, now she can't afford her rent, her mortgage taxes, and, it's tough for people. It's also tough for, those who are disabled, who, have trouble parking close to their homes. And, you get a ticket for not switching sides, it's hard. Those tickets come up on you quick, so, I think this is clear cut, something for us to give back to the community and say like, this is no one time thing. Come in and get it cleared and start fresh, and, hopefully by then we'll make some moves on parking issues in Hudson as well.
Is this only for local residents, or is there anyone that's got a thing?
That's a good question. I would say for local residents, but that's something I'll have to work out with Andy.
As it's written, it would be for anyone with a ticket.
Let's do it local.
Just to local, yeah.
So where, yeah.
Well, that's gonna be difficult because
That's not-
they're gonna say, well, I've lived there at the
Yeah.
time, or they're gonna live here currently and then.
Yeah, it's just, well, if they got a ticket when they're visiting.
Right.
Right, it'll be hard to
Or-
prove when they live here.
I mean, the easiest thing would probably just to leave it for everyone for, 90 days, people come in.
Crazy.
May I please, Mayor, when we were talking about this a couple months ago, we addressed possibly throwing in about the clarification of the holidays.
Yes,
Can we,
yeah, that's something that, I'll be talking to Andy about.
okay, because I thought we were gonna include it in this
Yeah.
one,
We have that, Michael,
the federal holidays.
no, we didn't.
No,
have that.
no, not yet.
Okay,
Yeah, it'll be ready for September.
okay.
Other questions? Kind of comment on it. Is there enough of a number of people that are finding like disability issues cause them? Because
I don't know
Also-
this, I just know the people that have reached out to me as of late.
I know like certain cities, I don't know if Hudson has their law where, if you are disabled, like if you have a state plaque, you can request the city to install like a permanent fixture right in front of your house. I don't know if we have something. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, the police, the former police chief has,
They have to be
the couple of those.
Oh, yes.
Oh, they do.
Council, other questions? Comments in general, moving on. Public,
I have a question.
can you,
As
actually?
quick as possible. My name is Andrea Hansen and I'm in the first ward. And I'm a rabid person, so I'll make it fast. I'd like to know, because we have so many streets that are not truly streets, like Partition Street, which is basically in a passage alley, and Cherry Alley. Can we get some kind of better patrol and lighting on those areas? They are getting very, very dangerous, not just from traffic, but from, rowdy persons or people who think they're well hidden and they're not. There's a lot of drug use that goes on, particularly on Cherry Alley. It's not nice to see, it's dangerous. That's one question. Maybe that's for the police force, but be out there. Maybe they should be patrolled. And is there a committee in Hudson that supervises or has any recommendation for the enormous amount of rental properties which are owned by out-of-town investors? And it's according to Hudson's regulation that I read online, it is the resident who is responsible for city services, for shoveling of snow, for garden maintenance, for parking, and not the owner of the property. Is there any clarification that you could give me?
I'm almost certain it's the owner who's responsible.
Then maybe we should check the wording on it, because it's
No, I'm
says
pretty sure.
resident, but
The-
not.
I'm almost, oh, go ahead. Crystal,
Sorry, Tom, I would say, I will say that the city law is that it is the owner of the property who is ultimately responsible. How they handle that with the people that they're renting to is a completely separate issue that is dealt with their lease agreements.
Okay,
And that would be a code enforcement.
then I am entitled to a lot of money back for things that we in our building have been paying for.
Okay,
The snow removal.
right, all of it.
Sidewalk repair, that was, covered as a resident, but not the owner.
Now, that's not to say they're not gonna transfer that cost to you.
They covered that issue by having those services provided, whatever, no
Right.
heat, no utilities, basically, for rental properties here. And you must maintain the gardens, and you must maintain the sidewalks, and you must maintain the garage areas. And any place that backs up onto another property, another residential property. So that's my question. And thank you.
Okay,
I'd like to have the street patrolled.
yeah, well, that we can bring up at our next informal meeting, because that's when we have the police chief here.
That would be great. It's very, very important.
And I
There
will,
are bad issues going on, and I've experienced two of them myself.
In the meantime, have you reached out to the police department to make complaints?
I can talk to the chief today.
Now, it's very hard, even if you're out doing an errand or if you're dog walking.
No, it's, of course, safety is paramount.
The speeding, right? Practically, you can't dive into the bushes fast enough to get out of the way of some of the traffic that use the alleyways instead of the streets.
Mhm.
We have a new app, if Michael wants to tell him about our new app, that I think some of that stuff you might be able to do that new app.
Okay.
It's working.
You don't strike me as somebody who uses apps easily.
Oh,
For me,
Yeah.
oh, why would I use that? Why I have a city council?
no, I'm just saying, so because it goes directly to, but it's just.
Usually when you see a gray haired lady come to complain about something, that's the app.
That's right, Don.
No, it's not like my mother was.
Nope. Anything else?
From whom?
Or council?
What about Narcan? Can anybody tell us when they're going to settle on a location for the distribution of Narcan?
Amber.
Believe if you reach out to Greener Pathways, they'll give it to you for free.
I don't want Narcan. I just want to know where the locations are going to be. They're attracting people who have drug problems. And if they're located near a playground or a school area, I would like not to see them there. I would like to see them someplace
The
else.
thing is, when you put the Narcan on our side like that without supervision, people steal those kind of Narcan and use it. So it's like, it's different to put in like,
Could we put it indoors, maybe?
yeah, I mean, they could do like a store or maybe something like a restaurant and stuff like that, but not like in a place where people easily could access without going.
The last time that the major distribution point that I saw was right up at the 7th Street Park, opposite the restaurants where the children get off buses. And there was a van, distributing Narcan.
Yeah, in an event they distribute a lot of Narcan.
Yeah, with a 50-foot long line of people who needed it, but not necessarily people who were going to use it to help someone.
Yeah, thing is, if you put Narcan, like if somebody like. What it does when they use Narcan, they got the edge of the whatever they use.
Mhm.
They use that, then they use the drugs again.
Mhm.
That's why they wanna put Narcan in the street. You know what I mean?
I do, yes. I would like to see it not in such public areas either. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ask you why you have a problem with it being in public places, Narcan?
Because the last distribution was opposite the school playground. And it was the pickup truck distributing it. If you're attracting people who feel they may need Narcan or need to help somebody with Narcan, you can't have that near a playground. You can't have any, I'm saying, you cannot have any kind of traffic or users.
Well, because it's conflicting, because you're not supposed to use drugs by a school. Right, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and there are so many schools, you know, it's like, or daycare programs or, you know, church programs.
So I'm confused, so you said distribution, what you're saying is the mobile distribution center you're talking about?
Yes,
I mean, usually they target wherever individuals are use it.
yeah,
So,
That's right.
you know, the park is Century Park or Promenade Hill or something, which is by a playground, unfortunately, you know, so.
yeah, I would like not to see it there. I would like to see it someplace else,
Well, where would you like it to be, ma'am?
not there.
At a store, at a. I mean, unfortunately, drug use and Narcan are part of life. It has to be somewhere.
Thank you for that.
Tiffany?
Yes, so, and I appreciate your comments, but I think that in a city that's 2.5 square miles and where there is an abundance of drug use and drug overdoses, if there is anywhere that people can get Narcan, where they can use it and save a life. I don't care if it's within 100 feet of the pool.
I
would rather,
appreciate your sentiment.
I would rather see someone there.
I appreciate your sentiment. I don't know, that's all.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor? Sorry. I did, but I guess you.
Okay, yeah.
That's
maybe
right.
I'll sleep.
Go ahead.
So what I would ask, Michael, as ADA coordinator and with Liz is, since the registrations and everything has gone out, is to put, just like we have on the website, anyone needing reasonable accommodations and then the process ahead of time. So then, where it's open, it is not knowledgeable and moving forward, anything, that is there. So if anyone needs it, there's a contact person and a method to get that reasonable accommodation.
I'll work with Liz on the wording for the registration form.
Which is that?
I'll work with Liz on the wording.
Thank
for the
you.
registration.
Can you send me the copy?
Motion on the table to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? We're done.
Adorable.